Okay, so the battery's dying. It's the end of the day, and I'm going to try to get through this in one shot. But I want to talk about this little pocket Osmo that shoots 4K. And this, again, is not going to be like a full comprehensive review because I don't do full comprehensive reviews. But this is going to be just me having this thing for a month and a half and what I've done with it and what I think about it. So that's it. I've had it for about a month and a half. I had it for a week, and I was going to do a video. Then I said, you know what, let me wait 2 weeks and use it a little bit more. So it's been a month and a half. And I would say in a month and a half, I have used it probably about at least 3 days a week. And sometimes I've used it for the whole day. So I want to show, this is how I carry it. And I'm going to explain what I bought and what I thought was worth buying and what I thought wasn't worth buying. So this is the tripod. We'll talk about that in a minute. I have this bungee on here, and I have a link to those videos on how to make these bungees. These things are great. I have all different ones. I make custom lengths. You can do it yourself. Nice, cheap, and easy. So, real cheap bag off of, or box, carrying case, whatever you want to call it, off of Amazon. I bought the Polar Pro one, didn't really like it. I like Polar Pro products, but I didn't like it. So let's get right to it. Let's open it up and I'll show you what I have inside and how I travel with this thing. So let's see if my camera's getting this. So basically we have the Osmo, we have the Wi-Fi adapter, and we have the thumb wheel, okay? So I'm going to also show real quick what I carry up in here. So up in the top, I have, obviously, try not to drop anything, Polar Pro filters, must have if you want good cinematic, footage, whether you're shooting 1080, 4K. I have a little battery pack, that's a Joby, cable that came with it, adapter for USB-C, memory card, and that's about it. So that's the case. Now let's get right to it. It comes in this little carrying case, which is really nice. You can, do the wrist strap thing. I like it because it'll slide in a pocket in my cargo pants. I can keep this, pull it out. So, and I've already done, there's already videos on my channel of me, videos that where I've used this. So you might not know that it was this that was shooting it, but anyway. This is so you can connect the phone. I can't connect the phone right now. Well, I could, but I'm using the phone as a monitor for this video with the 5D Mark IV. So anyway, push it. And just so you know, I have an ND4 on there right now. And real quick, the ND filters, if you decide to get the Polar Pro, I mean, I guess all of them are like this. They're magnetic. They just kind of pop right on there by themselves. So anyway, let's get right to it. Turn it on. And that's it. You have this like little screen there. It's kind of hard to see. You get the, and it is very hard to see, but you know what? I tell you, even though it's small, it lets you see enough that I've shot some really good footage just off of that small screen, okay? But for the most part, I like to clip my phone to it, or I like to hook up to it wirelessly. Now, wirelessly is a little weird because it has decent-alike profile, a color profile, which is great for color grading. If you're not into color grading, you don't worry about it. But for color grading, decent-alike, however you say that, is great for color grading, but in 4K at 60 frames per second, it won't let you use that color profile if you're connected to the Wi-Fi. Okay, so I don't know, that's DJI. DJI makes excellent products. You hold this in your hand, you know that you got a nice, well-made product here in your hand. You can feel it. The drones are the same way. The Ronin S, which this camera is mounted on right now, everything is nice and solid. But What DJI likes to do is what I call the Apple effect, and that is where they just dollar you to death with accessories that you need in order to make the thing function the way it should function. So you got to have the wireless adapter, goes on the bottom. Now I can connect my phone wirelessly, okay? But I can't connect to a tripod. I can sit it down, but it's not a very big base, so I have to connect it to a tripod. So in order to connect it, and you see what I'm doing here, you got to have a quarter 20, right? So it has to have quarter 20 to go in here. It leaves you a little opening in the back so you can hook a power bank if you're doing a long time lapse or something like that. That's all nice, and you got to take this thing off if you're going to use the Wi-Fi. You can take this thing off, and so you don't lose it, you can go in there. Okay, so now I can connect, and this is a Polar Pro tripod, and also this is Polar Pro. And now, excellent tripod. I've even had the DSLR on this with 24 to 70 lens. So I did that just the other day just to actually test that tripod. So anyway, I just wanted to show that right up front. So they kind of dollar you to death on that. Now another thing, let's take that off, is the thumb wheel. Okay, now it's starting to rain. Well, it's been a crappy day. I've been trying to make this video and I want to get it done. So the thumb wheel is a great thing because it lets you control. Now you can control by sliding the screen, but if you've got big fat fingers like mine, it can be done. It can be done with practice, but it's hard to do. So this lets you, but you got to switch a little switch to go between left and right, and then up and down. But it works. Expensive, very expensive, kind of overrated for what it is. I've only used it a few times. So I would recommend, if you don't really need this and it's not in your budget, don't worry, you're not missing out too much. I kind of regret buying that for the amount of time that I've actually used it. So let me put this back. So now, later in this video, I'm going to do screen capture where I show, the actual screen of this thing. Let's see what we got here. And you can do, the forward facing, 3 clicks, and it brings it around back, so you can do the selfie thing. And if you got your smartphone hooked up, if you're in the, hold on here. If you're in facing forward mode, you have your smartphone hooked up, you can do tracking, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I'll get any screen capture of that, but I'll get screen capture of all of the settings. Now, I've already done a video that I'll be releasing that's going to be separate, all about how good the RAW is for shooting stills and how good HDR is with a 3-bracket HDR. And I've done both, where I've done it for the Lightroom users, the people that like to merge HDR in Lightroom, people that like to merge HDR in Photoshop. I've done both, and I'll tell you what, the HDR with this versus the 5D Mark IV or the 6D that I was shooting with the other day, I was at a waterfall. It's really, really hard to tell on social media which one shot on a $3,000 camera and which one shot on a $350 camera. Very hard to tell. I'll show those images right now across the screen. But anyway, so what do I think about it before I move on to the other stuff in the video, screen capture and everything like that? What I think about this thing is, it very much surprised me. I didn't think that it was going to be what it is. I kind of thought it was just going to be some little gadget that, maybe a little overpriced, and I hope I can use it. And I'll tell you what, a month and a half, and I've used this thing a lot. Because as we know, the best camera is the camera that you have on you, right? And this thing is so easy to have on you. And it shoots 4K, it shoots 60 frames per second. Now, the one thing you need to know about the 120 frames per second, only shoots it in 1080 and it zooms it in by 4. But take a look at some of the, slow-mo right here, and you'll see that it really is awesome. Compared to the 120 frames per second that the Mavic 2 Pro shoots, this is really good. I just wish it didn't crop in so much. If it did a 2-time crop. So what you have to think about, if you're switching from 4K, you see so much view, and then if you switch over to the slow-mo real quick, all of a sudden you're zoomed in. So a couple times I've been trying to shoot people, and the next thing you know, I'm shooting slamming right into the side of their face, or at least the video looks that way. So all in all, end result is I love this thing. I really love it. So many people have asked me about it, and that was the reason why I kind of I was going to put out a video at first to talk about it a little bit, but I had just everywhere I go, people ask me about it because it looks like something that just the everyday person can use. And quite honestly, the everyday person can use it. It's so simple, so easy to use. My wife was using it. She loves it. We'll be going to Thailand again. We go almost every year because she's from there. We have a house there. We'll be going back there in November, and I can't wait to use this thing there. I'll have all my other cameras and my drones and stuff, but to use this thing while you're actually traveling, food photography. And the one thing is, you're not going to get any more depth of field than what it has. That's the one drawback. It's basically like a super cell phone camera in or on a gimbal. So it's locked depth of field, so anyway, let's move on to some of the screen capture stuff and look at that.